All right, I am kind of nervous about this story, or just like talking about this. I did make myself some liquid courage today just because I felt like this is gonna be a very interesting video today. You probably read the title. Today's video is gonna be a story time, and I wasn't like particularly planning to ever like really talk about this or honestly put kind of my life on the internet in that way. But like recently I went out to LA and I saw somebody from my past, and honestly that triggered some traumatic experience for me, and I just felt like I wanted to share my story. Just want to talk about this because honestly, just reflecting now on my past like relationships as well, I really empathize with younger Karina, and I wish just let her know, like give her some advice and like tell her that it's okay and you shouldn't do things that you're not ready for. Yeah, sorry if like the intro is becoming so long. It's just like I'm really nervous to talk about it, and I even spent like a couple days trying to write a script for it, and it just was not working for me because I felt like this experience should just like come from the heart and just like talk about it, okay? Let's just also remember this was like early 2000s. There was a different mindset, and obviously I didn't have the same access to the knowledge that I have now, so please bear with young Karina and her decisions. Please don't judge me. I already have judged myself so often, and I feel like sometimes, you know, that is one of the most difficult things, is like how you judge yourself. If you read the title, I also want to give like a quick trigger warning. There is conversations about body, weight gain, just anything regarding those aspects. Also sexual experiences as well. If you feel uncomfortable with those topics, please just go watch another vid. Trust me, I feel like this one can hit a little bit heavy. So the year is 2009. Facebook was blowing up. People were leaving MySpace because it wasn't cool anymore, and MySpace was shifting to like more of a music thing. So people are now heading onto Facebook. I was a sophomore in high school, and all I ever wanted was to be liked. So at the time, most of my closest friends already had boyfriends, and I honestly fell out of the loop, and I wanted a boyfriend as well. Like that's truly all I ever wanted at that time. There was this guy in my high school who was the same age as me, same grade, and I had like this insane crush on him. Okay, this is gonna sound really strange or stalkery, but like there was a point where like I knew like his whole periods and like where he hanged out, so I would pass by just to get a glance at him. Yeah, this is freaking stalker Karina, but yeah, I would do that because I was obsessed with this guy. We did meet previously, and like he was like in my Spanish class, and like he was honestly like my crush throughout my whole high school. And this is a point where my insecurities like were prevalent. Like I just knew that I was never gonna be able to have anything with him. Obviously during that time, like fat phobia is like so prevalent. Obviously it still is today, but like, you know, there wasn't really discussions that I knew about like, you know, body neutrality or body positivity at the time. I was very insecure about my weight and just being fat, and so I just always knew that that would never happen. So during the same time I'm like gushing over this fantasy crush that I have, I get a text from someone, and it is my friend, and I've known him since elementary school. And during this time he actually ended up being homeschooled after freshman year. So what he was doing was that he would go get a packet from like an adult school, finish it, and then he would return it at the end of the week. So he was basically doing, I guess, like GED or like self or like homeschool. That's what we used to call it. So he was always texting me, and we would go back and forth. I've known him since I was in 6th grade, and actually he was the first guy I had a major crush on, I guess. So like for me, I've always kind of had those feelings for the guy that I was texting, and I'm not gonna say any names because I just don't want to. He was just asking me like how I was doing, and you know, I would basically give him the updates of like how high school is and how, you know, how different it was. And me and him would hang out all the time, like outside of high school. So I always felt like when I was in high school, I was living a dual like personality, because some of my friends didn't end up going to the same high school as I did. Was always so excited for after school because that's when I saw like my actual real friends who didn't go to the same high school as I did. So he was one of them. We started like building like a very solid friendship. Like he constantly sent me text messages, we constantly were hanging out, and I guess to me, I was never sure what this type of friendship was. Since 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, we've been like chatting here and there. We would hang out all the time, and even got to the point where like he was here at my house often, and like my dad was kind of like, who is this dude? Like, why is he always here? Like, what is he to you? And I always told him like, oh, he's like my friend, because he was literally my friend. Like, I had no title with him at the time, but I was always so confused because the way he texted me would be like, oh, hey babe, oh, hey love, how you doing? Or just like all these terminology that at the time I was like, my friends be getting texts like that, but from their boyfriends, you know? So it was just completely confusing to me. And part of me was always curious to have something with him because I felt like we truly developed our friendship first. And I also thought at the time like, wow, Karina, this is the best you're gonna get. So like, just do it. Like, just hang out with this guy. Which, it's so sad like how I let my insecurities of my body affected like my rationale at the time. He doesn't want me to be his girlfriend, but I love hanging out with him, and I love feeling like we are together, but not really subscribing to the labels. And obviously nowadays it's completely different. We can talk about those things, but at the time I really wanted a boyfriend, and I really wanted to subscribe to those labels, okay? Well, now reflecting on it, I felt like I was constantly being manipulative of my insecurities. I never understood why we were always the friends and then we also had the benefits, you know? And during this time, friends with benefits was like a completely new term to me. I feel like I've never heard it from anyone, so that's why it was so confusing to me, like during this time, like why I was always being like the friends with benefits type of gal, or well, which there's other story times that I would eventually probably tell you. It got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm subscribing to this because I like spending time with him, and I just don't want to lose him because I'm asking for too much. Let me take a sip after that, okay? One day we're texting, and we had already kind of been a little bit more intimate. We've like done intimate things together, so like, but we didn't go like all the way. If you I had a couple of my friends already, you know, losing their virginities and like talking to me and telling me about their experience, you know. And I always felt like, you know, there was always this social pressure in high school, which is crazy to me, of like obviously losing your virginity, the social construct of losing your virginity at a young freaking age, at underage, which still baffles me to this day. So I already had a couple friends like, you know, very like sexually advanced and like had multiple partners already, and I just felt like that pressure of like, oh my god, I just need to like lose my virginity. Oh my god, let me fit in. And I always also thought like I was never gonna lose it because I was so insecure about my body, and which makes sense to me at the time because I was constantly bullied by my body. I remember having a boyfriend in middle school, and like he was so happy to be with me and I was so happy to be with him, but he was constantly getting bullied for being with me. Like they'd be like, haha, look, I'm not gonna say his name, but haha, look, there he is with his fat girlfriend. And like that's traumatizing. Like, how are you not supposed to see yourself that way when people are constantly telling you those things? Ugh. Sorry. I need a minute. And I didn't expect myself crying because I feel like I'm obviously in a different place now, but you just never know. Like, you just never know what can get you. Sorry, I just needed to take a quick moment. I'm back. I'm ready. So anyways, where I was going before I like had that train of thought was I got socially pressured to do things that I wasn't ready for, especially being in that relationship or friendship, whatever the freaking was during that time. I remember one night, I was like, okay, well, this is the time to do that. I'm ready, which I thought I was, but I wasn't. Obviously, it was going through social dumb pressure. And I also thought like, oh, he's the only guy that finds me kind of attractive if he's like doing other stuff with me and still treating me like a girlfriend. So then like, yeah, so I'm pretty sure he'll be okay with like doing that stuff with me. I know, y'all, I know. He came over and no one was home. I lost my virginity that night. So this kept going. Like, I had this friendship with him in this particular way for, I want to say, a year and a half or so. So when I got to my junior year, it just got a little bit more complex for me because like I truly care for this person. Like I truly do. Like I feel like me and him vibed on a completely different level. Like I feel like we were great friends. But to me, like it was so hard to distinguish like my feelings for him and are we friends? Because to me, I always felt like I wanted more than friends. I wanted more than that. And him calling me like, hey babe, hey love, calling me those names, like it gave me so many mixed signals. And I remember that like just conversing with all my friends about this, like what do I do? Call him and I tell him, hey, you know, can you like chat? I want to chat with you. Can we like sit down and chat? He's like, yeah, sure. And then I went to go pick him up. And so I picked him up and I was truly terrified of this moment because I'm a very non-confrontational person, so confrontation like scares the shit out of me. Anyways, I sat him down and I told him like, you know, hey, I just like, I want you to know that like I really like you and like this and that, and I wanted to know like if you want to be with me, like that kind of situation. He basically tells me that like, oh well, I don't see you that way. Like I really feel like I really care for you, but like I don't see us like being that way. And I told him, well, it was confusing because you would text me like, hey love or hey babe, and it's stuff like that. And like very also like we were being very vulnerable with each other. He would tell me so many different things that I felt like he'd never really opened up to other people about, and I as well. Like we were very expressive and vulnerable with our feelings and thoughts, and so like that's why I felt like it was also a relationship. Didn't really tell me why until literally a couple days later. My friend told me, you know, yeah, I've had that conversation with him and this and that, because he was friends with him as well. And he told me, oh yeah, he did tell me, and he basically said that like he didn't want to be with you because he likes you, he cares for you, but he said that, you know, your weight. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not the one saying this, like I'm just telling you like what he said. He's like, basically because you're fat. And I was like, that was so crushing for me, because like I thought he was the guy that didn't see me that way, you know, because of all the things we like talked about, or even the way that we were intimate. Like I didn't think he saw me that way, you know. And then the fact that he's like, yeah, he just basically wants to be your friend, like he doesn't want to be with you because you're fat. And if I wasn't already insecure about my weight during that time, like just that in itself truly put me on like another space. I was just so upset, and like that for me obviously validated like the whole normative of the ideal body type and not being looked the same ways respectfully because of my body and being judged because of my body. I honestly didn't know what to say. I blame myself because I wasn't skinny. I blame myself that, yeah, you know what? It makes sense. Yeah, it's my fault that I'm fat. Like, it's my fault. Like, yeah. Obviously, after years of reflecting, like, no, girl, it's that motherfucker's fault, not you, okay? So it was kind of the story of how, like, I was friend zoned because I was fat. And, you know, it was really difficult for me to understand that. And for the longest, I didn't feel like I was in the very best mental state, because that honestly did affected my like dating in the last couple years after that, until I met Luigi, which was when I was 19. So now I feel like obviously it's a completely different thing. I am truly blessed like with one of the most beautiful relationships that I've ever experienced, and I'm so glad that like Luis is in my life, or Luigi. We have so many nicknames for him, and I'm truly grateful for him as well, and so happy that we'll be getting married soon, which I can't believe it. The girl that wanted a boyfriend has a fucking fiance. That was my experience, you know, being in a friends with benefits relationship and finding out that I was basically friend zoned because of my body and my weight. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this was because I really let my insecurities affect like my rationale and my vulnerability, and I did things I wasn't ready for, and I did things that I felt like I was socially pressured to do. And I feel like a lot of the times, like sometimes when you're so insecure about certain things, don't stop to think that it's your insecurities affecting your decisions. And you know, as someone who has been through a whole body confidence journey, or just like body neutrality in general, like I truly think it's important sometimes to understand like where your insecurities stem from. I've learned throughout many years that like the insecurities that I've developed was never really my own. They were basically social constructs that I've been believed to think are the norm, and also insecurities from like my mother with her like internalized fat phobia, as well as just like peers, the way they speak to you. And sometimes it's so hard to not let others people's perception affect your own perception of yourself. And I feel like throughout the years, you know, I've tried to like deconstruct everyone else's perceptions, because there's always going to be people telling you or judging you for the way they see you. But at the end of the day, and what I've come to realize is that the perception that is very important is for you, like the way you perceive yourself, like, and the way you want to experience life. Like that at the end of the day is your decision, and I should be living my life the way I want to. I know it's so hard sometimes to not let other people get to us. I still deal with that sometimes, but at the end of the day, I try to remember that like this is my own life. I'm experiencing it for myself, and I do want to be that main character of my own life, and I do want to take control of the situations that I can take control of and experience it to the most. I'm so grateful that I've was granted the opportunity to just live. And you know, obviously we can talk about all the different social, economic opportunities and statuses that we all have that affect, you know, our access of living and all the different privileges one has. But you know, at its core, I am really grateful to try to live my life the way I want to live it, and focus on me and my own train of thoughts and how I see myself. And I know it's a difficult road to take, and I know sometimes it's not always clear. I'm just hoping that, you know, if any of you feel this way, I want you to know that like I'm here for you. Remember to focus on yourself, think about what you want for you, and don't let others get to you. I did that, and I let that affect literally my dating life, or just the way I saw myself and the experience I got to experience, because I was so fixated on my body. And I feel like the more I've kind of let that go and not focus only on my body, because honestly, there's so many different attributes to me besides my body. I feel like I've been able to appreciate more of who I am and who I'm becoming. And I am really excited for my 30s next year. I feel like I'm very developing into who I want to be, and being proud of that Karina. It's my story time. Honestly, I was so nervous to talk about this because it's just one of those things that it's really personal to me. And I feel like if you've seen my vlog channel, you've probably seen or have heard some of this story before. I just thought, in a way, I wanted to connect with y'all in a different way as well, if this is something you've experienced. And I just want to give you a big hug and know that I'm here for you if you ever need me. I love to hear, you know, your perspective and your experiences. So always appreciate the time and effort you take to just even be open and vulnerable with me. I truly love this community for that. So thank you so much. All right, y'all, I'm gonna wrap it up here. And thank you so much for taking this time to watch this video and as well as hear me out. I really appreciate it. If you are new, by the way, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to catch up with me, you can follow my Instagram and TikTok. They're both Living as Karina. And also, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a like and share it with people you think maybe this message would resonate with them. But yeah, that is all from me, loves. Love you lots, and I'll see you soon. Bye.